to have you in this session. So I just talking about the brief of Mr. Jaspreet Singh Sudan. He's a founder director of ENIAC. ENIAC is a sector which is creating academia into a different platform with their innovation and with the unique product and services they are providing to this platform. Coming to this learning of kids or learning to the students who are in this era, they are creating such platforms where the student can learn, rethink, redesign, and it will help them in creating their or solving their problem activities. Other than this, sir has a vast experience as an academic consultant in Indian Institute of Digital Education. Even he has he was a franchise owner that is in Vinayak Academy, a Becker's classes franchisee. Coming to his education, he has a tag of symbiosis, Xavier. So I believe this is enough to show that you have a great potential, and it will help our student as well as us to have a great knowledge from your side. Thank you, sir, and we welcome you on
Thank
behalf
you
of
so
Chitkara
much.
University, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Yeah, so can I start then with
Uh,
addressing the students, or is there anything
yes,
else
sir.
that
We
we
can.
want to get out?
We still. I'm sorry. Still, the participants are joining, so we'll be approving them in between only. So you
Okay,
can start off, sir. You can start it. Thank you.
sure, no problem. I think I'll start then. Thank you so much again for that introduction, and welcome students to the masterclass that we have today. Uh, as he's already mentioned, I've been doing this for a while now. Consulting when it comes to, and I have a general background when it comes to tech and education, like a combination of it, all the way from like early age education to graduates, postgraduates. You guys are MBA students now, so I'm hoping that there is something here which we can, learn from each other. Like there's something that I can provide you, and there's also, if there's anything that I can take away from this class, that'll be great. What we'll do is we're going to speak to. I'm going to just set the agenda right now about everything that we'll be doing over the next 1 hour. I would like to start with why are we here in the first place? Okay, before we learn anything, I have a very clear, idea about education where it's like students always need to know the why before they even get to what they're studying. Only if they understand the importance can they then be that invested in what is coming next. And that will cover, we'll talk about why websites, why digital marketing, why websites and digital marketing are so interconnected to each other more than we even realize. And we'll talk a little bit, like we'll give an introduction into the world of website planning, development, digital marketing, what resources are out there which we are not even aware about, but should be something which the entire world is using and is like the base which we should all know, and like which we should add to our knowledge base before we get out there in the industry. And finally, any questions that you guys might have when it comes to digital marketing, if it comes to the tech side of things, how they are related, what you can do to add to your skills, to add to your knowledge base. I'll be here and I'll be answering all your questions that you'll require. So that's the agenda for today. Hope that everybody is excited for it. And I think we'll start from the first thing which I mentioned, which is why. Why, like if you guys are doing, I'm guessing you guys are doing MBA. I've been told you guys have been doing MBA in digital marketing. That's right. So why are we doing a masterclass in website planning and development? How are those two things even related? And I'll push it to one of the students here. Like anybody that has any background in technology, anybody, like you can just raise your hand on the Zoom meeting itself. Do you have any sort of background when it comes to any sort of tech, programming, making websites at all? You can just like raise a hand or you can unmute yourself if so.
Students, I request you to please, open your cameras also and do respond to this.
Yeah, that would help. If we have like cameras on so I can see you guys as well, that always helps. But regardless, okay, you know what? Even if not, that's great because then I feel like everybody is at the same level where we are at. We're like, okay, we have no idea what websites, what goes. See, more than anything else, we need to start with talking about, as I said, the why. Why is it important to do it in the, even if you've been doing WordPress, how is it related directly to digital marketing? Okay. And the number one thing that comes here is your website, be it for yourself, be it for your brand, be it for the agency, doesn't matter. Your web presence is going to be the center point of your entire digital marketing strategy. It doesn't matter. Like, you can learn. So in digital marketing, you guys are going, you would have already started with it. And in the future, you're going to constantly learn about your search engine optimization, click-through rates, social media marketing on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever you do. But be it inbound or outbound. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, like, okay, you are, let's take an example. You are advertising on Instagram, you're advertising on LinkedIn for your brand, whatever your product might be, whatever your service might be. If somebody is actually interested in that advertisement, they're actually going to click through somewhere, right? But where is that click going to lead to? Is going to lead to a digital presence that you have, which is most probably going to be your website. No matter what strategies you're applying when it comes to digital marketing, everything which is going to be inbound is going to come into your website. And that's where you're going to be collecting your leads. So that's going to be your primary lead generation source. They're going to be like, okay, come in here, even if it's like sign up to my newsletter, even if it's something like, okay, take a free trial, or, you know, this is the updates you want about a service or a product. It's all going to happen via a website. And even if it's like an outbound strategy where it's like you're doing search engine optimization, you're doing, you know, with working with Google AdWords and AdSense, either ways, what is going to happen is you're still going to need that website to be able to do the search engine optimization, right? Like, how are you doing search engine optimization if you don't have the basics of a website in the first place? So your website is always going to be the center point of your entire digital marketing strategy. The second point here is it's also about credibility. If your brand, or even you as a person, if you call yourself a digital marketer, okay, and you want to have a portfolio, or you have a brand that you're working with, or you have your own brand, a company, a digital marketing agency you've started yourself, what kind of an impression you're going to leave on your consumers or your users or your customers if you don't have your digital presence yourself? When was the last time any of you, okay, dealt with a brand, a new brand, which you're not aware of, which you've not heard of? It's like a new brand, it's a new product, it's a new service. When was the last time you held a transaction with them where they did not have a website at all? Okay, like, just think about it for a moment. Like, at the end of the day, if I tell you today that I am a digital marketer, I have an agency, you should work with me, you should give me the responsibility of handling digital marketing for your brand. But then I come and tell you, oh, I don't have a website. Should I just like send you an email about everything that I do? Is that going to increase my credibility or is that going to decrease it? So be it in terms of the center point of your campaigns, be it in terms of a credibility, having a website becomes almost essential for a digital marketer or anybody related in the industry of digital marketing. Then the second point which comes here is, okay, why can't somebody else handle it? Why can't I handle the marketing side of the things? Why do I, as a digital marketer, need to also understand how these websites are working? Can't I just hire somebody for it? Can't this be something which is outsourced and it's not something that I need to know myself? Okay, and that's where again I would disagree, because yes, there are certain technical things that can always be outsourced. You can always have somebody else in your team doing the nitty-gritties of something else. But if you don't understand the basics of even how it works, how a website even goes online, okay, and what is possible, what is not, what are the scope and limitations of a website, how are you even going to communicate your strategy with your team member or somebody that you're outsourcing it to? If you have absolutely no knowledge of how something works, How are you going to talk to the guy who's making your website? How are you going to communicate effectively that this should be done or that should be done? If you don't even understand how much time it takes for something like that to happen, whether if it's even possible or not, how much cost will it take for something like this to happen or something like that to happen? What kind of websites are even out there? What are the different kind of websites? Can you make websites in different ways? Okay, you can make it using WordPress. You can make it using you can use coding and programming to make it. Then you have Shopify, then you have Joomla, you have all these various. What are the differences between them? Your platform that your team is using, or whoever you've outsourced it to, whatever they are using, if you don't know the basics of it, it's going to be very easy for somebody to take you for a ride. Like I can very easily come and tell you, oh, this is a very complicated project which is going to take 4 months. It's going to cost you 3 lakh rupees to make these many pages. And whatever your digital marketing campaign you've come up with, I will charge you XYZ and this much time to do it. And you will have no idea whether that makes sense or not. You will not be able to tell that person, okay, why are you using this platform instead of this platform? You don't need to know the details. But if you at least know the surface level, you will be able to communicate better. Nobody will be able to take you for a ride. Especially in a country like India, half of the professional services that are run in this country, the only reason they are running currently is because of the knowledge gap of the customers. Like, think about it. Like, there are a lot of skills which are actually very easy to pick up. But it's not even about the fact that, okay, I don't know how to do it. It's just that I don't know what I don't know. There are things that I know how to do this particular skill. Then there are things that I don't know. Okay, I don't know how to play the guitar. It looks complicated, but I don't know how to do it. Somebody else knows how to do it. And then there are things which might be easy, but you just don't know what you don't know. Like, it's like putting up a bulb sometimes. Like we've reached a point where even if we have to drill a hole in the wall, we need to call an electrician, because I'm like, I don't know, what if something wrong happens if I drill it myself? It might be a very easy thing to do on the surface level. There might be some things which might be very easy to do, but like we're so scared that, oh, I'm so confused. This arena is so unknown to me that fear of the unknown stops us from doing something very basic. Where, there are some things which you can do yourself, and there are some times that people will take you for a ride. They'll very simple things. You'll be charged a lot. It will take a lot out of you, where you'll be like, okay, for your business. And when you're running a business, when you're doing your own startup, you're running your own agency, you are bootstrapped, you cannot afford somebody taking you for a ride. So at least having the basic knowledge of a few skills is going to be very important. And knowing how websites work is one of the core skills, because that brings me back to my first point. It's going to be the center point of any digital marketing campaign. It's going to be the center point of any brand, any product, any service, any startup. So when that's going to be the center point of it all, isn't it good to at least know the basics of it all? And that is what I mean by why websites. And that's the why that you guys need to drill inside your heads, that no, regardless of how fearful I might be about this concept, I have never done coding. I have never done programming. That's okay. And we'll talk about this, and I will talk about it in this class, about how there are stuff out there right now like WordPress, which makes it very easy for anybody to at least be good at the basic level, at the surface level of when it comes to making websites. And that amount of knowledge, that foundational knowledge of making websites, is something which is very much necessary for every digital marketer out there, or any industry professional out there. At the end of the day, even if this was not MBA for digital marketing, but just a general MBA, I feel still there are a lot of colleges out there which should still be teaching at least the basics of how to make your own website, create landing pages, maintaining a website, knowing a software like WordPress. That should be something which is compulsory. The moment you realize and that switch flicks in your head, okay, you know what? This is important. I cannot have a brand. I cannot have a agency. I cannot have a digital marketing campaign without a website. And if I don't know the basics of making that website, I'm not even going to know how to communicate that to somebody else. Okay, why can you make this for me? Or my teammate is working on it. I can't communicate what I want out of it. Does that make sense? I want a few of you to respond. So if you're not putting on your camera, at least unmute yourself. Do you have any questions at this point? Anything that you would like to contribute? Anything that you would like to ask?
So I believe students, they need to come up with some questions or queries, because Jaspreet sir has already given you a glimpse of websites. So please come up with your queries or some questions. It will help
It can be
you.
an industry specific question. Like, is there
Yes,
something
any.
you're wondering about the industry and how things work? Or any fear that you have when it comes to this that
And
you've
even,
always wanted to know about?
yes,
Anything
and
at all.
even they can ask that, suppose they are going to become a digital marketing expert in the coming time. What are the basic criteria which they have to meet on to, in order to be a part of the same? So it will help you in your employment opportunities
Exactly. Or what kind of employment opportunities are out
are
there?
available. Yes.
What do
Yes.
they look for? What all can you do? Any questions around it? If not, I have a presentation as well. I was planning to move on to the presentation, but if before that anybody has any questions, feel free to ask.
Even you can write messages. We have a chat box over there. You can share your queries in chat box.
Okay.
So I think you
While you guys
continue,
figure it
sir.
out, I'm going to just share my screen as well.
Done.
I have a presentation and we can move on to that.
Yes.
Okay, great. So now that we've got the why out of the picture, okay, since I'm just going to assume that all of you have got the idea of when it comes to, okay, we have, this is why knowing the basics of websites is important. And this is how it's going to help me. And I need to know the basics when it comes to the importance of it too, when it in relations to digital marketing. But then how do you start? What is the thing that you need to know behind the scenes? Okay. And there are always two parts to this. Okay. When it comes to websites, imagine it twofold. One is website planning and one is website development. Okay. I'm guessing website development is a little bit, which, as I think sir already said, that you guys have a little bit idea of when it comes to WordPress. So website, when it comes to the website development of stuff, how do you make websites? There are many ways. Okay, the most complicated way of making a website is you code it yourself. You've learned coding and programming for years and years and years, and then you know how to make your own websites. It's the most complicated and long-term way of doing it. But of course, the advantage is that it gives you the most amount of customizations possible. Okay. And like you can do whatever you want. You can make your own Twitter, you can make your own Facebook, you can, like, the limits are endless in terms of what your skills are. But there are other alternatives. You know, there are templates out there, there are softwares out there which allow you to make websites without knowing any coding or programming at all. You would have heard advertisements of Wix.com, Squarespace.com. You know, these are all softwares which let you make websites very easily. Like you can literally go on one of these websites and within 2-3 hours, a very basic landing page or a products page or a service page you'll be able to make. Okay, like within a couple of hours without knowing any programming or coding whatsoever. But of course, the disadvantage is not a lot of customizations. You're very, very limited templates. You can do what you can, and then most of the things you can't. The good news is that there is like a very solid middle ground, like in that Goldilocks zone of something like WordPress, where WordPress is something which is like, okay, you can make websites on it without knowing how to code and program, but WordPress is so extensive and so massive that there are thousands and thousands of themes, templates out there which can give you million different kinds of customization options. So I'm happy to hear that you guys have already learned a little bit basics of WordPress. That's going to help a lot. In fact, believe it or not, almost 45 to 47% of all web pages on the internet are created using WordPress. And the moment you realize that, you realize, okay, not everybody out there that is making websites or at least putting stuff online or having a digital presence is doing it from a very technical background. You don't need that sort of a technical background. You just need to keep practicing when it comes to using softwares like WordPress, and you can get there, because most websites are the same. WordPress is literally one of the most extensive uh, options out there, which gives you so many customizations while still not requiring you to have coding or programming knowledge. And that's the development side of things. Okay, these are the various ways that you can make a website. You can either code it yourself, you can use very, very basic softwares like Wix or something, or you can spend a little amount of time and effort learning something like WordPress, which is like the perfect middle ground, which without coding and programming, but a little bit of effort can give you a lot of customizations. And that's the way you can develop your website, and you can know how to develop it. The other side of things is called website planning. And that's what I'm guessing is you guys are going to be more interested in, and also where your skill sets are going to be more aligned towards. And what I mean by that is, as marketers, as a marketing professional that you want to become, especially a digital marketer, what is the thought process that needs to go behind making a website when it comes to the content, when it comes to the design, and when it comes to the execution? What is the process that needs to be followed to actually make that website that you want? Now, again, this can be you are starting your own company and you want your website, or some other brand has come to you that wants you to make a website for them. It can be a website you want to make for yourself, a self-portfolio website. Doesn't matter. There are certain steps that you, as a digital marketer, needs to have in place. Because that's again another problem, right? Like a lot of people don't even start learning something or thinking about something because they're so fearful. I don't even know what the process is. कि अगर मुझे process ही नहीं पता कि यार मैं start कहाँ से करूं, what is the first step, what is the second step, what is the third step, how am I, that fear is always going to be there. That I don't know, there might be hundreds of steps. I don't know what it, like, where do you even start? What's the first thing you think about when it comes to making a website? Forget developing. Even if you know how to use WordPress, even if you know how to code and program, if you're bad at website planning, that's not going to help. So as marketers, as digital marketers, what are these steps that you need to know? And that's what I'm going to cover in this class today. Okay, that these are the things that you need to be aware about. Okay, you know what? It's not that difficult. If I follow this 1, 2, 3, 4 step program when it comes to thinking about a website, I know how to think about making a website. And what that will result in is that I will be able to communicate to myself or to my team member or to somebody I have outsourced this to, how to make that website that I require, which you will require for sure. If you want to become a digital marketer, you will require a website. So you have to be the one to plan it. Even if you do not know how to code, even if you do not know how to use WordPress, you will still need to know how to plan it and then communicate it to the person who knows how to do it. And if you know how to do it yourself, at least the basics, even better. You still plan it and then in an orderly fashion, execute that yourself with the skills that you have. So what happens in website planning? Let's think about that. I'm just going to go through these slides. Okay. We already discussed this. Why do you need to plan? Again, the why is always the most important when it comes to why do you need to plan something. And we need to plan because we need to know the steps before we execute anything. And we divide this plan into 4 parts. Okay. We are going to divide it into prepare, landscape, aesthetics, and navigation. I'm going to go through all of these. At any point you have any question, feel free to ask. I see there is one question in the chat as well. I'm going to come back to that. Don't worry. I'm going to answer that as well. But when it comes to thinking about a website, before somebody even sits to code or develop the first line of that website, you as a digital marketer needs to think about, okay, what are going to be the contents of my website? What's going to be the design of my website? And you will do it in a 4-step process. PLAN. Now, what do I mean by P? It's prepare. prepare, the first thing which comes in terms of prepare is who is the website for. You always start at the end. You start at who your customer is and what do I need to prepare for them. It's not about, okay, let me make a website first and then let's see which kind of customers show up. No, as a business professional and as a marketing professional, you always think about the customer first. And you think about, okay, who is that person that I'm making this website for? So let's take an example. If I am making a website which is an e-commerce website, but my customers are mostly young female shoppers. Okay, that's my first thing that I need to note. Okay, who's coming here? Who's coming to my website? Is it going to be young female shoppers? Then that's important to note down because that's going to dictate a lot of my content and design choices that I'm going to take. If it's a website, if it's a school, let's say it's a school, I'm making a website for. A school comes to me and tells me, can you make a website for our school? You guys are a digital marketing agency. I need a lot of help, including you guys need to make my digital presence. You guys need to handle everything for me. Make a website for me, make a digital marketing campaign for me. Again, the first question becomes, who is the user of your website? Okay, I'm going to put this question to you guys. When it comes to a school, if you're making a website for a school, who do you think the audience is? Anybody? You can answer in chat. You can unmute yourself randomly and you can answer the question. Very easy. Who do you think is the user of the website when it comes to a school, a website for a school? Come on, if I don't get any volunteers, I'm going to start picking. Okay, students and teachers. Okay. Is that really true though? Are students the primary consumers of your websites? Yes. Yes, Kritika and Veronica, I think you guys have got it on point. It's the parents. Because another thing that you need to know as a marketing professional is there's a very big difference between consumer and customer. Do you know the difference between a consumer and a customer? A consumer is somebody that will be the end product, which will consume your product. If I'm a school and my product is education, the consumer is the student. Yes, they will be the one getting the education. But my customer is not the student. My customer is the parent. The parent is the one which will be paying for it. No matter who consumes my product, it's my parent that is going to be making the decision of paying me the money to join in. In that particular case, my website is not going to be designed for children in mind. Children are not going to, a fourth grader, a fifth grader never goes to their school's website unless like it's like to check the marks or check the homework or whatever. It's the parents, because you're marketing to the parents. Parents want to take admission. They're going to come to your website and it's the parents that you're going to appeal to. This is what I mean by who is the website for. You need to be very smart in terms of who your audience is. As a marketing professional, you need to know who your audience is before anything else. Because if you make this mistake and if you're like, oh, students are the one who are going to come to my website, and you design the entire website and your entire marketing campaign appealing to students, you know, you're using like fun primary colors and you're using childish language and childish fonts and everything. The mistake that's already been made was at step number 1, where you're forgetting who the website is for. And every step along the way of developing the website, thinking about the content, thinking about the design, thinking about the colors, you've made a mistake everywhere because your first step was wrong. The child is not the customer. The parent is the customer. You want to come up as a school. Your thing shouldn't be, oh, we should come up as a fun thing that students come and they think that, oh, we are fun. No, you need to come across as somebody that's credible. To the parents, then you need to authoritative, credible, an institution which has a lot of integrity, which has a lot of accountability. These are the things that you need to come off as an institution to the parents. Of course, it's an altogether different matter if it's like a college website. Because if it's a college website, then a lot of times the students itself are the ones which are coming, and they are going to be the one that are going to check your website out. So that's a different thing. But again, who is the website for becomes very, very important when it comes to preparing for your website. And that's something that is going to be your step one. It can be a personal website. It can be a small business website. It can be a massive website. You need to know what, because even this matters. Even this will dictate what kind of a website you're going to make, because the kind of content which is going to go in is going to be very, very different. And I'm going to speak a little bit more on this when we get to the landscaping sort of things. And there are a few examples here, but I'm not going to go through all of them. It's just a masterclass. This is like a presentation which sometimes I use for like longer lectures as well. And once we have a longer lecture with you guys, maybe later on, we'll go through a few of them as well. But these are just a few examples of a few personal websites. Then there are a few examples of a small business website. And then there are examples of a big brand website. But if I had to put it in a short, concise way, what you need to understand the difference between these three is going to be in terms of what kind of content you're going to put inside. Okay. A quick example which I would give, which would summarize all of these slides, okay, would be that if I am an individual, let's say I'm an individual who is a digital marketing professional, I'm a freelancer, and I need to convince everybody to give me their digital marketing campaign contracts. The kind of website that I will make, okay, will be much more personal in nature. I will write about myself. I will even give personal details about my life. And I have seen this happen, and if you guys research yourself, you will see that a lot of these personal freelancers, okay, the way their website differs from a company or a brand or a digital marketing agency is that they're not afraid to be more personal, because they want to give that vibe. You know what? I'm a freelancer. You can get in touch with me. I will always be approachable. So the way they want to come out to the consumer or the customer is that I'm approachable, I am friendly, I am easy to connect with, I'm easy to go back and forth with, I'm your friend that will help you on your way. And that's going to dictate a lot of the kind of content which the website will have. But if I'm an agency, then my focus is going to be a little different. Then my focus is not going to be personal, but my focus is going to be more about, we are professionals, we are efficient, we know what we are doing, this is our past experiences, these are the brands, I will boast about the brands I've worked with even more. My priority shifts from a personal touch and approachability to a little bit more on the lines of, okay, oh, I'm speaking from a position of authority. These are the brands I've worked with. I know what I'm doing. I'm efficient in what I do, and I will prove to you via my website that I'm a very efficient organization that can help your company or brand out. And these are the things you think about when it comes to making it. Before you've even thought about the content and the design, the number one important thing becomes, who is my website for and what kind of a website I'm making for them. Is it a personal website? Is it a brand website? Is it a medium business website? Who is my customer? Are they different from my consumer? These are the first things that you note down. After you've noted this down, and again, I can see there are a few questions in the chat. I will answer all of them. Don't worry. We'll come to all of them. I'll just go through this PLAN thing very quickly, and then I'll answer all the questions that you guys will have. We come to the second part. After you've decided, okay, who's the website for? What kind of a website is going to be? The next thing becomes landscaping. Landscaping, put it simply, is what kind of content is going to go in the website. Okay, once you know who is it for and what kind of website it's going to be, you kind of just make a list of all the features that you want on your website. If, again, taking the same example of a school, or let's say I'm an e-commerce website. Let's say these are the two different kinds of websites, very different kind of websites. One is a school, one is an e-commerce website. An e-commerce website ka landscape, the features will be very different. Their features will be very product specific. Their focus will be demonstrating their products, featuring their products, making the website around the idea of, one, their products. Second, how are they different from everything? So For an e-commerce website, again, I'll put the question off to you guys. Okay. You can answer in chat. How do e-commerce sites usually distinguish themselves from each other? What features of an e-commerce website makes you choose one e-commerce website over the other? You guys can answer in chat. What is the number one thing that comes to your mind? Oh, I'm choosing this e-commerce website over the other. For what reason? Is there any feature specific, or is it more about their product or what their offerings are? What is it? Somebody said reviews. Okay, reviews is one, but reviews is also product specific. But I'm saying overall, as a company, when you go to their website, when you go to the first page of an e-commerce website, what do you usually see? What's the first thing that tries to grab your attention when you go to an e-commerce website? Somebody said design, interface. Yes, interface is important, but right now we're not talking about the design, we're talking about the content. And when it comes to the content, yes, I think Dhruv is right. Veronica, again, very good. Yes, it's discount and offers. When it comes to the content, again, now we are focusing on the content. You guys are right. Of course, design and accessibility is also important, but that comes in later. You know, we are doing PLAN. P was prepare, L is landscape, A is aesthetics. Design comes in the aesthetics part of things. But before you even think about user interface, about design, you are going to think about what kind of content I'm going to put on my website. For an e-commerce website, the number one important content becomes offers, discount, features, and of course, their major products. Most e-commerce website, this doesn't matter what. If you go on that e-commerce website, the number one thing you will see is what is their major discount or offer that they're giving right now, and what is their best-selling product. And then they will feature their products. And then, of course, if they are a massive e-commerce website, they will feature all the categories that they have. So this is the kind of content that you will think about. Now, this is for an e-commerce website. If it is a school, the kind of content differs. The kind of content for a school becomes, okay, I'm going to talk about the achievements of the school. Achievements become, they are not going to, a school is never going to be like 70% off on our annual fees, join now. That's not going to be the most common thing that you see, number one thing when you go on the school's website. No, they are going to be like, last year, 90% of our students that passed the 10th standard got a distinction, because they want to boast about their achievements more than anything else. And that's the second thing, that like after you've thought about who your customer is going to be, which is your prepare, the second thing is your content. Okay, what is the kind of content my audience will want to see, which will make me stand out from the other websites? For a school is going to be their achievements. For an e-commerce website is going to be their discount. For a doctor, or like, let's say it's a clinic, it's a website for a doctor's clinic. What do you think is the number one thing they will be talking about? Come on, again, answers in chat very quickly. If it's a doctor who's making a website for his own personal clinic, what do you think will be the number one feature of that clinic's website? What should be talked about the most when it comes to the content? What will be right in the middle, in the center of that website? Come on, you can take guesses. Even if the guesses are wrong, it's okay. This is not like a test, but I want to see some answers in the chat. Think about it. If you were today, somebody came and told you, a doctor comes to you and tells you, make a website for me for my personal clinic, what kind of content will you put in? So Bhuvnesh has said qualifications and experience. Perfect. Exactly. The number one thing when it comes to a personal clinic is the doctor himself. The center focus will be the doctor's qualifications and the experience. And these are the things you note down second. So after you've thought about what your website is going to be about, who is it going to be for, the second thing is going to be your content. What kind of content? You write down everything. So for a doctor's website, Abhinav, you're also correct. You will write down what the doctor's experience is. You will write down what kind of speciality they have. You will write down the patient reviews, the contact details, the appointment schedules. When is the clinic open? When is the clinic shut? This is a very important part of the website. And you will note all this down. Again, we have not even come to making the website. We're just noting down the contents of the website. That is step number 2. Now that brings me to step number 3, which is aesthetics. And this is where the design part of it comes. As you guys were mentioning earlier, the UI UX. We hear so much UI UX, UI UX. What is it? User interface and user experience. Put it very simply, it's how easy it is to use your website and how good your website looks. That is UI and UX. That's all. That, okay, when you come to the website, if it's very cluttered, if it's very complicated, if it's very difficult for me to find information on it, it's a bad website. If it's a very easy, neat and clean, good looking, minimal website, that's a good look. That's like an easily accessible website. It's a good looking website. And aesthetics has a lot of it on it. Speaking about, so when we speak about aesthetics, like, and it's also something which is very inherent. Inherently, like if I show you this website, is this a good website or a bad website? The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, good looking website or a bad looking website? Bad. Why? Why do you think it's a bad looking website? Can you pinpoint something in this which you think is wrong? Very cluttered, correct. Veronica is correct. Lots of information given together in one screen. Abhinav, correct. What else? Anything about the design that you guys don't like? Colors, yeah, colors look very, very outdated. And there are also like too many colors. Graphics, very important point by Sukh Swaroop. The graphics, the image that they're using is like not even connected to like the rest of the website. Looks very, very weird. And that's right. We can instinctively know that this is a bad government website. Now let's come to this one. The new MyGov website. Is this a good looking website or a bad looking website? Is this better than the previous one? Yes. Now why? What do you think is clean? Okay, it's more clean looking. Correct. That's one thing. What else? Other than clean looking, what else do you think which would be like, okay, this is why it's like a good looking website? You can just take the things that were bad about the previous website and turn it around. Vibrant colors, pleasant to the eye. Correct. And that's what, it's very precise. It's to the point. The content is to the point. It's very important. And that's what makes UI and UX. So when you say UX, it just means, okay, overall, what are the emotions or attitudes that your user is going to feel towards your website? How accessible your website is, how desirable it is, how valuable the information is that they're seeing on screen. That is what we call UX, or the user experience. You know, and when it comes to user interface, that's like the design of it all, how good it looks, the behind the scenes stuff, like, you know, the colors they've used, how neat and clean everything is. Good design is always invisible. Like you don't even know why you like it, but instinctively you know that, okay, I like this or I don't like this. That's your user interface and how good that is. Okay, and everything. And there are a lot of UI UX things. There are a few other examples also. But overall, what you need to realize when it comes to the design of it all, okay, if I were to give you some quick pointers to keep in mind when it comes to making a website, okay, is one, modern websites are more minimal. You don't confuse your audience with too much content. The content is always one at a time. When I'm looking at the screen, I should only be looking at one kind of information, or I should be looking at the navigation. Okay, how do I navigate through the website? Very easily. When I scroll down, then I see more. The content needs to be divided in a very easy to understand, easy flow way. And the design needs to be as minimal as possible, because minimalism is modern. You don't want to throw too many things at your consumer. You want it to be like one at a time, want it to be clean, lot of open spaces. Don't be afraid to have a lot of empty space on your website. The second thing which is very important after minimalism, the second thing which is important is uniformity. Uniformity in colors, uniformity in design language. If on one page the buttons is orange in color, in page number 5 also the button should be orange in color. If they have a curved border, all the pages need to have like a curved border button. Uniformity becomes very important. You know, a lot of times when people are new to the digital marketing world, when they are new to making websites, they think that the more fonts I put in, the more colors I put in, the more animations I put in, it's going to look like, oh, these guys know so much. They have so much skills. They know how to do this also. They know how to do this also. And they've made a very, the more they think that the more complicated they make something, the more impressive it's going to look. But the opposite is true. In fact, the more complicated you make it, you might be thinking, no, I'll put this design also. I will put this design also. I like 3 designs and I can't choose between one. So in 3 different pages, I will put all 3 different designs. I will put different animations. I will do this. I will do that. I will do all of this. But no, that's not what good design is. Good aesthetics is uniformity, is minimalism, uniformity, responsiveness. Now, what do I mean by responsiveness? I don't mean how the website responds to me. In technical terms, responsiveness means, does your website work well, not just on a desktop screen, but it also works well on a mobile phone screen. You guys should know this as digital marketers, but 80% of India uses the internet from their mobile phones only. Or 80% of the times that a person interacts with a website is through their mobile phones. That's massive. So it doesn't matter how good your website looks on a desktop. If your website looks bad on a mobile phone, it's a bad website. It's aesthetically wrong. As simple as that. If you remember these 3 points, these are the 3 quick pointers that I can give you to keep in mind. Don't try to overcomplicate stuff. Too much is not right. It's too tacky. Keep it minimal. Keep it uniform. Keep it simple and uniform and minimal. And keep it responsive. Remember that the phone screen is more important than your desktop screen. If you remember these 3 points, these would be my quick pointers. Of course, there's a lot more to design. Some people go very in-depth into it. They learn color theory. You know, this color, like banks will always have blue color for their brands. A food related company will always have red and yellow. Why? Because there is color theory here. Some brands associate to some colors because blue is supposed to invoke the feeling of security in a person. Red and yellow is supposed to, invoke hunger and action in a person. That's why FMCG products usually follow red and yellow, but banks will usually follow blue in color. There are exceptions, of course, but that's the general idea. The more you can learn into it, the more you will learn about color theory and this and that and UI UX principles. You can go as deep into it as you want, but basics to sabko aana chahiye. You know, the basic concepts of keeping things minimal, focusing on the mobile phone as well, having uniformity in the website, not cluttering too much information. All of these things, these basics you should be aware about. And how do you get better at it? How do you get better at this? You get better at it simply by visiting as many websites as possible, following the trends. You should constantly be looking into, okay, if you are working on a bank's website, the number one thing you should go do is go through 30 different banks' website. What are they doing? What do you like? What do you don't like? And whatever things you like, identify the patterns. Okay, these are the patterns I'm seeing, which is good, which is bad. Be it in terms of content or be it in terms of design. Either ways, you should be like, okay, I need to identify the patterns. And that's your aesthetics. So P was prepare, who is the content for. L is content, landscaping your content, what kind of content I should put depending on my customers. A is your aesthetics. And finally, to end things off with is your N, which is your navigation. And navigation is nothing but how do you divide your content into various pages? Do you want it to be a one-page website where all of your information is in one page and people just scroll through? Do you want to divide it over multiple pages? How will those pages be connected to each other? How will your menu bar look? That's it. That's what you think about last, and then you make everything. But this is the 4-step process of planning a website as a digital marketer from a marketing perspective. Think about who your customer is. Okay, once you know who your customer is, you start writing down the landscape of your website, the content of your website. Okay, what kind of content should go in? Then you think about the design, what colors I will use, how will I place my content properly. You can even wireframe this. What I mean by wireframe is you can sketch it out. A wireframe looks something like this. Wireframe sketch example. Okay, a wireframe looks something like this, where okay, each page of my mobile phone screen for my website is going to look like this, where the number one thing is a banner image. यहाँ पे मैं image डालूंगा, यहाँ पे मैं एक slider डालूंगा, यहाँ पे मैं एक video डालूंगी. All of these things you just write down. This is your aesthetics. And then finally your navigation. And these are the processes when it comes to making your website. And the more you research about what kinds of websites are out there, the more you identify the patterns, the easier it will be for having this process. And once this process is clear for you, and you know a software like WordPress, okay, WordPress is a very, very important software to know. Once you know software like WordPress and these planning skills you have, you can make a very, very good looking website for yourself, for your brand, for your agency, by using the themes and everything that is already available without even knowing how to code and program. Even a single line of code and program is not required. WordPress aata hai, ye process aata hai, you can make websites yourself, or you can communicate very well with your team members, and you can tell, tum ye wireframe bana ke unko de sakte ho कि देखो, as a marketing professional, I have thought about the content, I have thought about how to divide the content, I have thought about how the design is going to be. मैंने सब कुछ सोच लिया है, अब तुम ये वर्डप्रेस पे बनाओ, मुझे वर्डप्रेस का बेसिक्स आता है, so I can direct you little bit here and there about which theme to use, which this to use, which that to use. But because you know it better than me, you make it. But at least I know enough to, as a marketing person, be able to explain it to you. Got it? So that was the whole thing. I think I'll end it with answering a few of the questions that you guys have already asked. If there are other questions also, you guys can keep putting it in. So I'll start from the latest question first, moving upwards. Veronica is asking, what are the most common problems issue that occurs in website design? Very good question. When it comes to the design of it all, the number one thing I've already spoken about is responsiveness. Okay, it is very difficult to make a website which looks good both on a desktop as well as a phone. A lot of times you have to make two versions of the same website, one for a mobile phone, one for a desktop. But the good news is that if you're using a software like WordPress, a lot of the themes, a lot of the templates inside WordPress, which are pre-made, तुमको खुद बनाना नहीं है, वो already है, existing. Most of the most popular ones in a website, in a software like WordPress, are responsive by default. By default, when you use them, they will give you two versions of everything. It will work on a desktop also and phone also. So if you use a software like WordPress to make your website, responsiveness is something you won't have to worry about much. But in general, one of the biggest common errors which happens is that. Second error which happens is, again, which I already mentioned, you think that the more complicated a website you make, the impressive it will be. It's not. You keep it simple. The more simple you keep it, the less mistakes there will be. And you keep it uniform. All your content needs to be very, very uniform. So I hope that answers your question, Veronica. Another question that somebody had asked on top was, let me just scroll up really quickly. Is there a measurement and analytics tool set up to measure the content quality uploaded on the website? Yes, that is also a very good question. We were talking about WordPress. Let's take WordPress again. So WordPress, if you guys have done even a little bit of it, and even if you've not, that's okay. Not only does it have pre-made templates that you can use called themes, WordPress also has something called as plugins. And plugins are nothing but additional tools that help you make your website better. And there are so tools which help you access the quality of your content and how you have divided it. It even helps you in your search engine optimization, because how you space your content out also helps you in your search engine optimization. And the rating of it and the ranking of it can be done by the tools. So there are a lot of SEO tools that will do this for you, and they are plugins. So when you, and all you need to do is, like, you're a Google search away. You need to Google search top 5 SEO plugins for my WordPress website. And again, for those of you that don't know what a plugin is, think about it as like an add-on software. Like, okay, you guys are using Google Chrome right now, right? Google Chrome is your browser. Google Chrome में तुमने अगर एक ad blocker डाला है या एक extension डाला है, एक add-on डाला है, what is that? That is nothing but a plugin. Your ad blocker, your VPN, or any extension you've added to your Google Chrome, think about that as like an example of what a plugin is to WordPress. कि WordPress में तुम website बनाते हो using certain themes and templates, but in that website, whenever you want to add certain features which don't exist, you can add them using plugins. And these few of these plugins can even help you rate your content, about how good your content is, how well is it spaced out, how is it looking, how will it show up as an SEO thing on a search engine like Google. Everything can be covered. So it is possible to do that. Let's take the next question by Kritika. What are the best opportunities for a digital marketer? Lot of them. So you can be one of the first thing that comes is, of course, you can be a freelancer yourself. There are a lot of startups which are constantly coming up. Even people around you, I'm sure, constantly are like, you know, I want to make a new website for myself, or I want somebody to handle all this social media stuff for me. I want somebody to, you know, handle lead generation for me. I don't know how to do it. As a freelancer, you can start with working with these new startups. And as a new freelancer, it even helps in, you know, instead of working with like a very big brand, it will help you also for your own experience. If you start working with these small startups, that's what I also did. Like right at the beginning, I was still in college. I knew how to use WordPress. I was a little bit very good at like the marketing side of things. I was learning marketing in college as well. So whatever I was learning on the marketing side of things, I taught myself WordPress. And then I would literally just be like, okay, I was in like, you guys are in an MBA school. I'm sure you'll know a lot of people, or like you will know people around you like, अरे यार खुद का business start करना है, खुद का ये start करना है, वो start करना है. Approach this person and tell them, ठीक है, you focus on the business. I will make your website for you. I will handle your initial email marketing, lead generation, newsletter, search engine, social media, सब कुछ मैं handle करता हूँ. And like, you know, it will be a good experience for me also. And I can help somebody else out also. And like, that's how you increase your credibility. Then you reach a point where you can start working with bigger brands. You start there. If you don't want to do it yourself, if you think you want to specialize in something particular, you want to become an SEO specialist, you want to become a social media specialist, an email marketing specialist, or a website developer specialist, then you can join a team. You can join a digital marketing agency as a specialist, where you will have a team. You will be working on something else, somebody else will be working on something else, somebody else will be working on somebody else. You can all coordinate with each other to work with brands. You can join an agency. So you can be a freelancer. You can join an agency. Of course, if you're a good digital marketer and you have a good business idea yourself, you can, of course, I have always had a business idea. Now I have some digital marketing skills. Let me start my own business. So these are the three main opportunities. Either start as a freelancer, join a digital marketing agency, or just start it yourself. Yeah? Start your own idea, like convert your idea, start your own online business today. What is stopping you? You don't know how to make a website? Learn WordPress. Very easy to learn WordPress. There are, luckily, you're in a good college which is trying to organize classes like these for you guys, where people from outside are coming in and telling you, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 4 things you think about when. Now, if you've ever had a business idea, after this class today, sit down and follow this 4-step plan for yourself. Okay, I have a business idea. Uske liye meko website banana hai. Who is my audience? Write down. What kind of content should be there? What kind of color should be there? Research into similar looking websites. Pattern identify karo. Most of them are using this color. This is the kind of content they're putting in. मैं ये सब note down कर लेता हूँ. एक वायर फ्रेम बनाओ. वायर फ्रेम बनाने के बाद या तो वर्डप्रेस ऑलरेडी तुमको थोड़ा आता है तो ग्रेट. Teach it yourself. Various ways to teach it yourself. And just make your website. Yeah? Start your own online business right now. What's stopping you? There'll be people always ready to help you. Your college is out here to help you. So there are a lot of opportunities for, in general, digital marketers out there and a lot of different things. Cool. Any other questions?
Hi, Dilbag here. Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Okay, it's very nicely done, sir. I mean, it's absolutely, you know, the actual way you informed it in a very, very good way. So my question here is related to the speed. If we talk about the Cloudflare or optimizing the pictures on the website,
Okay.
so what other things which are helpful in terms, we know that a user will stay for about first 5 to 7 seconds only if
Three.
if it doesn't goes, right?
Three.
Yeah, right.
Almost 85% of
Right.
customers leave your website if your homepage doesn't load in 3 seconds.
Correct. So anything you want to add on?
Sure, definitely. The number one thing which becomes important, okay, is when it comes to your content that you're using, the number one mistake that people make when it comes to page loading speed is using huge images. The image sizes are, see, because text hardly covers anything. It's KBs, like 2-3 KBs, nothing. You have to think about it like this. When you open a website, what you're actually doing is you're requesting data. किसी के सर्वर के ऊपर वो वेबसाइट का डेटा है एंड यू आर रिक्वेस्टिंग के वो वेबसाइट का मुझे डेटा बताओ, like show that data to me, download it for my computer, and the text is going to be in KBs, but if the images you're using is like 10 MB 15 MB 20 MB का एक image, और ऐसे तुमने you've put like 10 images, automatically your page load time is going to be slow. So the number one mistake which I have seen students do is that they will put very high resolution images. You don't need that. There are ways of putting good quality images, but still making sure that none of your images are above like 100 KBs in size maximum. Videos, if you're putting videos on your website, don't actually put a video player. Never put your own video player. Upload your video on something like YouTube and just link it, embed it on your website. That will make things quicker. And this is when it comes to making the website. But chalo, tumne website bana liya already, and still you want to make the website a little bit quicker. Even for that, there are tools out there. Okay, for WordPress also, again, there are plugins specifically which will increase the speed of your website. It will automatically optimize your WordPress theme to make sure that, okay, the content is going to load very fast. It's going to remove any excess animations that you might have, which are not required, which are there for no reason. Or the way the page will load will be very different. Like, what they will do is that tumhara first frame will load first, so that at least the user has something to see. And then while they scroll, the rest of the things are getting loaded. So there are ways around it. For yourself, making the website, always remember images need to be small. Don't put your own videos. The themes that you're choosing in WordPress itself, make sure they are lightweight themes. And the more you learn WordPress, the more you'll understand the difference between lightweight and heavyweight themes. Don't put animations for no reason. Keep it minimal. And after you've made it, use WordPress plugins that can then help you to make that website even faster. I hope that answers your question.
Absolutely right, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Anything else you guys want to ask while?
Yeah, is there any more questions, team?
Okay, perfect, great. So I hope this gave you guys a small glimpse into the deep connection that websites have with digital marketing. Why is it very important? If nothing else, I hope that what you've taken from this class is, okay, you know what? I should be taking this more seriously. It is that important in this industry. And now that I have a little bit of idea about how the processes are like, you have a pathway in terms of, this is what I need to learn next. This is what I want to focus on next. And even if that's something you've taken from today, hopefully that's a good 1 hour spent of learning. And yeah, I hope to see you guys again sometime in probably some other lecture.
Right. So I already said that it's a very, very insightful, in a very, planned way it has been shared, that how you plan your website. Absolutely agree to that. So I request again, Dr. Varun Nair to just give a thanks message for this insightful and awesome session.
Thanks a lot, sir. I think the session which we had is going to give a new look to the scenario, to the understanding of the student who are going to be part of this digital presence or who are doing ambient digital marketing. So I still remember that you started why web presence is a center point of digital marketing. and how inbound and outbound strategies through SEOs can create a different wonders if can be used in an appropriate way. And probably you have already conveyed that if you have no basic knowledge, then people can betray you. They can charge good money by saying that this work is highly complex. So this means that students, they need to have a good understanding, basic understanding of the websites. And you have already conveyed that how website planning and website development is different. No doubt, if a person is very good in development, so he can do a good customization. But I probably see that my student, they can work well in website planning. And you have already given a segregation ready to prepare
you need
landscape.
to communicate with that person, right? If somebody else is very good at a development part, you can at least communicate with
that this is a drawback. This is the thing I require in my website. And the segregation of plan is, I think, awesome. Prepare landscape, aesthetic, and navigation are the different way with which you can start and end your journey of the website. And the way you have explained that consumer and customer, student, they need to rethink that whether they are working for consumer or they want to work for customer, and customer is the person for whom which we have to work. And user experience, I think it has a marvelous you can say outcome on the student mindset if they are going to do it in the future. So, sir, it was a wonderful session for us, and we thank you from the team of Chitkara Center of Continuing Education, even from the Chitkara family.
Yes, sir. We have a last minute question if you can answer.
Sure, no
yes,
problem,
please.
no problem. I think it's by Abhinav. The question is, how reCAPTCHA verifies you? Quite simply. So it's like a machine learning thing where automatically, so Google, the most common reCAPTCHA is made by Google themselves. And the way that they do it is they have a machine learning algorithm already. In fact, an industry secret, which not a lot of people know, is that using reCAPTCHA, Google even trains their own machine learning softwares a lot, where they first of all already have a base database of like, okay, we have an image, and on that image, you can point out, okay, where the traffic signal is, what a bicycle is, because the machine learning algorithm of Google can take any image and can identify कि इसमें cycle कहाँ है, इसमें human कहाँ है, इसमें traffic light कहाँ है. It's a machine learning algorithm behind the scenes. Now their algorithm is already quite good at it, good enough to test you. Okay, can you point out at the cycle? My algorithm can point out at the cycle. If you also can, and you can like actually use your mouse to click on it, then I will verify that you're a human. And like a very behind the scenes thing to it is also that every time that you actually write it down, like every time you actually point it out, it trains their algorithm to get even better at machine learning and identifying objects in an image and everything. And that's how the reCAPTCHA, and sometimes it's an image, sometimes it's just like a math question. In WordPress, usually reCAPTCHA is a math question, 13 plus 7 kya hai? Because the point is, and the importance of it is that if I'm coming to a website, a lot of times people do a lot of bot attack on a website. कि मेरे को तुम्हारे website के ऊपर I will send in a lot of bots. So let's say it's a ticketing website. Instead of individual going and buying a ticket, I will code a bot which will buy thousands of tickets in a second. And then your actual customers will not be able to buy it. So how do I stop a bot from coming? I want to make sure that a human is coming. A bot will not be able to read my screen properly, see those weird images and be able to identify कि ये कौन सा letter लिखा हुआ है. The bot will not be able to do 13 plus 7 is equal to 20. A human will be able to do it better. And even if a computer is able to do it, it will at least slow it down till the time my coders can intervene. And that's why reCAPTCHA is important. And that's how they can tell you're a human. Because they already know with their machine learning algorithm what it is. And they know, okay, only another human will be able to do this and not any other random bot that is trying to attack your website. That's about it.
Right, sir. So thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
No worries. Thank you so much, you guys, also for hosting me.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot from our side. Sure. Thank you.
Okay. See you guys. Have a good day. Have a good weekend.
Thanks a lot.